Welcome to Sweeping the Country. I'm your host, Derek Walker. My co-host, he's always entertaining, he's always knowledgeable, and he's awfully good-looking, Mr. Jimmy Carter.
I can't stand it myself. It's too much.
Well, quit looking in the mirror.
One thing as we start on this, I just went through a period over a 24-hour period with dealing with customer service. And, you deal with it every day if you go to a fast food place. And we know that that's been going downhill for a long time, except for Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is, an In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out Burger's
and maybe
good.
a few others, but most of them.
How about Disney? Do they still have good customer service? Like Disneyland? They used to be.
Disney probably still good. Dollywood, of those kind of places, still pretty good.
Yeah.
In the hotels, I think the hotels were ruined by COVID. I really do.
I agree with you.
So many things. Like this past weekend, there was water that came out of the shower. And I'm getting charged $300 a night to be in this room
That ain't
at
cheap.
a Hilton property. And water gets out of the shower into the floor, and I have to use 3 or 4 or 5 towels to blot it up.
Yeah, no.
So they don't clean your room every day anymore in these hotels,
You just brought
They
up
do it on the 3rd day or something like that. They will.
Yeah.
And so I called them up and I said, need some new towels, first of all. And because I'm a gold person. I was diamond, but I'm gold.
Yeah.
And said that, it'd be nice if they could at least clean the bathroom, because we had water spilled. Well, we don't have that on the schedule and all this kind of crap.
Really? Wow.
So that was bad customer service.
Wow.
They did bring up some towels, but that didn't make me happy. And, and that's a minor thing. But the whole thing about not cleaning the rooms every day, they did it every day before COVID.
Yeah.
Only a Fleabag hotel didn't clean the rooms every day.
You brought that up, and the property you stayed at, and my wife travels a lot, so she sees a lot of hotels, like you have over the years. And we stayed in a hotel in Nevada, in Reno, and we noticed before we went in that it was kind of not kept up very well.
Really?
So she said, "Hey, I want to go see the room before we check in." So they showed her the room. And then later on, my son, the next day, he got up and I said, "How'd you sleep?" And he said, "Terrible. They were doing construction all night in the rooms above me." And I think you're right. I don't think that kind of stuff used to happen, because when it did, you would never stay there again. So they tried to make the experience really good.
But they're all high as a kite in prices.
Yes, yeah.
If you're staying at the major chains, now you can go to the $8 Inn and stuff, and I don't know what goes on in those places. But it's very frustrating with a lot of that. And then the bigger thing, I had a Wi-Fi problem last night.
Yeah.
And I thought I had a virus. So immediately I'm all Apple. I've got 3 Apple computers, Apple phone, Apple iPad, watch, and everything. So I called Apple, got them on the phone quickly, got somebody that was great. Quickly is rings, and then there they are.
Wow, that's
they're ready to go. They're quick. And so we went, and I said, do the one where you take over my screen, because I want you to see what's written on my screen. I'm worried about it. And so they took over my phone because they couldn't get on because the Wi-Fi was down.
Yeah.
So they got on my phone and cut the camera on and looked at my screen. And then we had me cut off clear histories and do a whole bunch of things and try it, and also fix my time and date, which was nothing wrong with it. But sometimes you can cut off the time and date part in your settings, cut it back on, and it'll clear up some problems that might have gotten from somewhere.
Yeah.
So they did all that and determined it's not our problem.
Okay.
It's not the Apple machinery. It is your internet provider. All right. So I haven't had this internet provider, AT&T, for very long, but I was warned against it.
Okay.
I was told that the service, the actual service was great.
Fast,
but the customer service was biblical bad.
Ooh.
And okay. And so when I called to set it up, it was okay, and pretty much got somebody out here within a fairly I didn't have any trouble with the setup, really. But I didn't get a whole lot of briefing on everything about it. I just had to write down all these numbers and put it away. So I never canceled my other one because I was doubtful of what this was going to be like.
Yeah.
So I kept the other one and just turned it off in this part of the world, and and went all AT&T.
Good thing, yeah.
And it's been great. It's been great. And then last night that thing showed up. So I had to convert over to the Spectrum, which it did, and everything went fine on that until I got on with AT&T. Couldn't get them on the phone last night. All I got when you call the number is it wants to try to do it itself.
Right,
It's got some AI thing. What is your problem? Well, I didn't know how to tell them. It wasn't like my internet is down or I can't get connected. I said I need to talk to a person to explain to them what it is.
What did it do when you said that? Because I'm curious.
Oh, it didn't like that. No,
No
it didn't
people.
like
No,
that at
we don't
all.
want
So
any
it
people.
kept bouncing me around. And I said,
Fascinating.
service, attendant, person on the phone, human being, anything, to get it to stop
Right.
going through this rigmarole. And it just kept wanting to go around and around. So then it said, we can set up a call back because as early as we can talk to you is 2 hours or something like
Wow.
that would be your whole time. So I said, and it said, okay. And then this AI thing is talking the whole time saying, all right, we'll put in the time when you would like to get called tomorrow. I
Tomorrow.
wasn't going to stay up all night long to
Right.
do this.
Right.
So I had it hooked up with the other internet. So I said, okay. So put in there it says, for example, 930 is 930 pound.
Okay.
And then put bush 1 for AM. Okay. So I did it. 930 pound. That is not a viable option. Well, it's what you just told me. And you can't fight with them because it's a machine.
Right.
So I finally hung up on that, reconnected again,
Yeah.
got to it a little quicker about call me tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then set it up. So did it for 9:30. So I've got the scam thing cut off on my iPhone where
Yeah.
it doesn't ring anymore.
Yeah.
It goes right into voicemail
Uh-huh.
if you're not somebody in my contact list.
Yeah, sure.
So 9:30 this morning,
There they go.
it went right into the scam thing, and I saw it come in,
Yeah.
and I couldn't stop it. So I called back, and I can't remember. It seemed like I got somebody on the phone
Oh, good.
pretty quickly, and they were ready and tell me that's okay. I was trying to explain to them what it is, and they want to go. I said, I've already pulled the thing. I'd like to have someone come out because I've got a couple of things that aren't working. No one really explained this to me fully. They were in a hurry to get through. I've already unplugged it, which is one thing you always do,
Yeah.
and let it sit for a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
I've hit the reset button already. I've called Apple. I've gone through all these things. We're up to the technician part now. They said, oh, no. Give me your account number. We went 30 minutes trying to find my account number.
It's
Because I
frustrating.
had all these we have many things under your accounts. I said, I have the phone and I have this, and it's all on one bill. And so apparently AT&T goes through your whole history when I lived in Houston and Nashville and Brentwood and all this. So he gets it all. They're all confused with what number's the right number and all that.
Unreal.
So we went through this for 30 minutes. I said, can you please just get somebody to come to the house, even if you've got to charge me at this point?
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to spend the time doing this and tick, 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 we're up to 40
Oh, yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
And so he had me unplug it. I went ahead and crawled under the desk and unplugged it and waited a minute and plugged it back in. And then he finally got the account number, which was weird because he couldn't get it. And then went through, he kept saying,
Jeez.
please stand by. I know it's taking a long time, but hang on.
Yeah.
And he was going somewhere to reprogram. I don't know if he was talking to somebody
Yeah.
at headquarters the whole time, getting, briefings. But whatever it was, he reprogrammed something.
And it worked.
And it all of a sudden just worked
Isn't that crazy?
because he did something back there. They changed something, the certificate of whatever it is. So
And it was good to go.
makes it a trusted place or something. They had to fix something there because there's only so much you can do here. He said the installation man wouldn't have been able to do anything. He still would have had to go through all this.
Okay, let me tell you. So along the same lines as that, talking about the installation man, we had an outage last week as well, different company. And they were, it was down, so we called and they said, there's an outage. We're aware of the outage in your area. Fine. So then we see a truck go by the house. And so my wife runs out. She said, I'm going to go talk to that guy real quick because he's down the street and we'll see if he's
She's
fixing it.
chasing the truck down the road. Okay.
So she does. She gets to him and he's going into the neighbor's house, two doors down. And he said, no, I said, are you fixing the outage? And he said, no, I'm here to fix this address. They got a problem with their stuff. And she said, well, we do too, and there's another neighbor over there that does. So it seems to me like it's the whole area. In fact, the computer says it is the whole area. And he says, I don't know anything about that. So he goes in the house, and he comes out, and it's not fixed. And she stops him again, and he says, I'll put a ticket in for you. And so they do.
What brand is this? Can you say?
Sparklight.
I never heard of that. Okay.
I think it's part of CenturyLink, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm not
that's
sure.
the West Coast thing. Okay.
So they leave. A couple hours later, we call. They say, we don't know of any outage in your area.
Oh.
So then we go on the computer and we look on the map, and it shows an outage in our area. So one thing led to another, and finally we got a person. Same deal, but it was something that could have been just fixed if somebody like the technician picked up the phone and said, "Hey."
And also, and one other thing too.
Yeah, go.
And if you probably, I don't know if you had it or not.
Yeah.
Again, dialects and foreign languages
Oh yeah.
make it difficult with customer service people.
Yes. Some,
You know,
and I'm not saying all, but some are very hard to understand. I mean, honestly,
yes,
I have
it's on
trouble.
the phone. It's a distant call. You know, they just have, some of them have pretty good English, but it's just enough screwed up where you sometimes have to ask them twice
3 times.
of what's going on. You know, so
No, I get
and then you've also got, on a bigger picture, you've got travel chaos running around because of the government shutdown. The air traffic controllers,
Yeah.
like it just said here, the 8th busiest airport halts flights. And where was this? This is at Newark.
Oh,
Ground stop at Newark.
New
And
Jersey.
they're having
yeah.
this all the time, all over the place. And it's really ridiculous that this government shutdown is still going on. This is a fight between Democrats and Republicans, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, I tried to compare this to, let's say Vanderbilt and Alabama play football.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama beats Vanderbilt, and the game is over.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt is leaving the stadium, going into the locker room, but they won't leave the locker room because they don't like some of the plays that were played. They don't like they don't like the outcome of the game, and so they're refusing to leave the locker room until Alabama does something, comes and listens to them, and maybe makes some kind of restitution
Okay.
or something.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, I get it.
Alabama's not going to do that,
No.
for example. So, in just the same way here, elections have consequences.
Right.
The consequences are you have to wait till the next election. The Republicans can't can't vote to free up the government. You got to have 60 votes. They only have 53. You've got to have 7 Democrats agree, and all the Republicans agree to vote it to get the CR thing passed. They want to get Obamacare and all this other stuff, thrown into there. You do that, and then we'll let go from holding the government hostage, which is basically what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. In essence, yeah.
And that's where we are. And I understand the Republicans. Why should we shouldn't have to negotiate now. We won the election.
Well,
We've done this.
right.
And we don't have to sit down with you because we've got a majority, but we don't have a majority to open up the government. And if you want to shut it down, this is your call, not ours.
And the saddest part of it is neither one of the parties negotiating are the ones that are suffering. The people that are suffering are the people that have government jobs or that work in the government. It's not the politicians that are
And
suffering.
the rest, and every traveler that's out there that's being delayed.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
no
That's
telling
true.
how much money that's cost us.
That's
And
true.
it's what we call a pissing contest. And both people are to blame, but actually it really is the Democrats because the Republicans they don't have the power to open up the government.
Yeah, by themselves.
Because they don't have enough votes. They still got to have 7 Democrats. So 7 Democrats have got to come over
And
to
Jimmy,
open this CR resolution.
And they're eventually going to have to, right? Or it will never open.
Well, even
Or
if they
until the term is
negotiate, they still got to get 7 Democrats to
Right.
come over there and
Right.
open it up.
Right.
And so you've got, a lot of the media is on, is crooked. It's sad. But they're so biased, they don't report it that way.
Yeah.
That it's you know, that, hey, you know, one side says it's one side says it's the other, but in reality, it is the Democrats doing this.
Right.
That's how they have leverage because they don't have to have the 7 people come over, you know, and vote for something they don't want to vote for. So, and therefore, the government is shut down.
Right, and they're leveraging a group of people that is not really involved in the decision-making process. It's us,
You know, so
right?
that's customer service again. They get paid. They're getting paid,
Sure.
all the congressmen and everybody.
Sure.
But to screw over all these other government employees, yeah, do we have too many good? It's not the time or the place or the way to do
Well,
it.
and they represent
You know?
us, the people. And right now, don't you think the majority of the United States would say open the government? I mean,
Yes.
that's who they're
I mean,
representing,
yeah.
us.
There's stuff we don't like about the government. There's
Right.
a lot of people
A lot,
hanging
yeah.
around, but I just had somebody at lunch today tell me they couldn't get into the Roosevelt residence in Hyde Park.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get into West Point. They couldn't do all these things they were doing when they were sightseeing in New York State because of the government shutdown.
It's funny that you
The
bring
Park
that up.
Service
Yeah.
is closed, so
Yeah.
everything is closed.
My daughter was in Philadelphia and wanted to see the Liberty Bell.
Liberty Bell,
And she
can't.
said that's inside now, and she couldn't get into the building. And not that that's a hardship, but all of those
No,
things
but
are
it's
affected.
inconvenience. We should be
Sure.
able to do that.
Well, we're
And
paying for it, yeah.
But you know, you've got so many people, so many thousands of people have Trump derangement syndrome. And it's not that you like everything he does, but they hate everything he does. You know, and making a ridiculous jumping up and down about, you know, you've never heard anybody talk about anything that's done at the White House, no matter what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, he did something very public there with the East Room, but you know, it's just the people have cried wolf so many times.
You're right.
You know,
yeah,
they've
you're
gotten to
right.
where we can't stand it that you're killing the drug dealers coming out of South America. That's ridiculous.
It is.
You know, I mean, it's just they've cried wolf. They hate everything. If they just hated 9 out of 10 things, you might listen to them on something. But they hate it that we're killing drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they want to go to court and get an injunction against, you know, every boat that comes out of there loaded with drugs. I mean,
It's
war
insane.
doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And you can't do it that way. I mean, you just can't. Now, they're not briefing everybody and doing all this. Yeah, because if you did, look at what they've done to every move that's happened. They've gone to court. They've just litigated this country
Right.
into standstill. You wouldn't get anything done. You wouldn't be able to do anything
No,
because they're
you're
going
right.
to sue everything. That was their whole moniker that they admitted on the day that Trump got in there.
Yeah.
They were going to resist.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word they use. We're going to resist. And that's what they've done. And that's the consequences of where we are. We're, you know, crazy time.
No,
It's crazy.
you're right. You're right about that. And you bringing up, briefing everybody. There's a movie on Netflix called House of Dynamite, which is getting a lot of attention.
Yes.
Which is basically exposing our vulnerabilities as a nuclear capable nation, right?
We are exposed.
We are, and it just seems silly that people would
But we're
publish.
fighting about all this other stuff. And, you know,
Right.
it's just,
It's crazy.
I don't know. It's very frustrating. It's why, you almost don't even want to talk about it. But you see Trump doing stuff. And yes, he puts too much gold in the Oval Office, please. And he does a lot of things that, you know, are 2 steps down the road, you know, from it. But Trump is a reaction to what was going on.
Yes.
It's just basic science. It was an equal and opposite reaction
Mm-hmm.
to what was happening in the Biden administration, which is nothing.
Right.
The country was not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You had somebody that wasn't even you never saw for weeks or months.
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
a
He was
time,
absent. He was
Who
completely
was
absent.
out of it?
Yeah.
You know, who knows who was running the government?
Yeah.
And the country was just treading water.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't moving forward or anything. And then the tariff thing, I don't understand it all, but I think part of the deal for the tariffs to work was for the interest rates to come down, and they went down again today.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
they need to go down probably some more
They're
because
saying.
unemployment is starting to pick up.
Yeah.
And that's because, you know, the interest rates have been high and everything else is not working right. But what they also don't do, which is disingenuous, is that the reason that the unemployment, if you look and see who's getting whacked,
Mm-hmm.
it's middle management people. They're getting taken out by AI,
Yeah.
and that's not being reported on accurately. AI is going to replace jobs. It's going to, like robots. They've already replaced a lot of factory workers. AI is going to replace people in middle management. There's going to be less need because it's so good at what it does. It's going to create a lot of jobs. It's going to make people a lot of money. It's going to cure cancer, I hope. It's going to do a lot of great things because it's the supercomputing and all that. But it's also going to take jobs, just like the automobile did when you had to get rid of all the buggy makers and all that stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
The
that's
AI
right.
is just like the buggy maker, just like the internet. Look at all the jobs the internet created. But I'm sure I can't tell you all the ones that it got rid of too.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
know, you don't have meter readers as much anymore. You've got them just riding around in a car. You don't need as many
Well,
because the meters talk to the internet. I mean, we're a technologically driven country, and you're going to see that even in the military and everything else eventually.
well, you
Because
just
you're going to have
described
more
it.
drones and you're going to have more stuff.
You just described it with your customer service experience. You were talking to AI. It was trying to
Right, and
solve
you're
the problem
fighting with
without you.
AI too, and it's
Yeah,
just like it's not a very forgiving tool. AI is not very forgiving, and neither are the drones that you want to put in warfare. You know, it's only as good as the operators and behind the scenes or the programming that it has.
Yeah, correct.
And it had no way to, I mean, yes, if mustard and ketchup and a dash of onion is all you got to worry about, you can probably build a machine that can do that.
Yeah.
But if you want to do mustard and ketchup and give me a half and half with mayonnaise and something else, it can't do that. You know, it
Too
doesn't
much,
have
yeah.
any nuance
Yeah, right,
at
right,
all.
right, right,
No
right.
nuance.
Well, AI is supposed to solve some of that. I mean, it's pretty amazing what it can do. But you're
It's
right.
better than Google. I'm telling you,
Oh,
I've been using
gosh.
it. I pay $21 a month for Chat GPT.
And it's
And
fantastic.
I have no problem paying for that at all because I use it for different things, like on that problem last night. I Googled it. I couldn't find anything about that do not, whatever it said. And I went on Chat GPT and wrote down what kind of happened to me. And it said, "Is this what you saw?" And yes. And then I went ding, ding, ding. And it wrote down about 20 things I could do,
To fix
but
it.
ultimately your internet service provider is going to have to reprogram something, which is what it did.
Amazing.
But there's all kinds of things you can do to reset your computers. But that was nothing that I was.
But you are right. I mean, ChatGPT and all of the AI that's out there right now is going to terminate some jobs. We know that, but it's also going to create some jobs. So good and bad always comes with a new invention or a new technology until we
yeah.
get our heads wrapped around it.
And we're in this changing society for a lot of. You're seeing it with older people, are getting old, and it's a generation. The baby boomers
Right.
are slowing down. They're selling their companies.
Yeah.
They're getting old. And so you're seeing people that are taking their place, the next generation, and the one after that, and the one after that. And they're different in what they eat. They're different in how they live.
Oh,
They're
consume
different in
media,
how they
everything.
consume media.
Yeah.
They're different in, and not all of it's good. Taking away those phones from a lot of young girls are committing suicide because they're so mean to each other.
Yeah.
And people doing things like putting naked pictures that aren't them with AI and doing stuff like that. And it's making, there are children, young people, young women who have committed suicide before.
Yeah,
And
it's a
I
shame.
imagine some men too. But, we're in a changing time. And it's natural, but we're just seeing it, in the modern generation with phones and other things
And I
and the
would
way
argue-
people eat food. And,
Yeah.
you go to these restaurants, in a lot of these places, like the Cracker Barrel and people like that, those are people that my generation, that kind of place, we like to eat. But you can't get somebody under 30 just about to go in there.
It is different, and then what you expect when you pay is somewhat different too. That's morphing every day. I mean, I got a
You mean
burrito.
expensive being,
You just the quality of what you get. I got a burrito at a fast food joint today. I won't say which one. $9. Now I don't know.
I went to Sonic, and I'll tell you that on Sonic, we had 2 corn dogs, a hot dog, a grape slush, and a Coke. And that was like $11 or something like that.
Wow, that's not bad for all that food. Jeez. Compared to my
yeah.
one burrito for $9.
Yeah, your one burrito, but look at the profit that I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
they're
how
not
much
making that into profit. What they're doing is they're paying
the
a
high
crazy
wages?
amount of money for the employees,
Yeah, yeah, and
now
in turn
because
we pay for it. Yeah,
the and the it doesn't work. I mean, it worked if employees were not getting a lot of money, then your hamburger place could work because there's a great profit on a carbonated Coke.
sure. Yeah,
There's some things that cost more than others, but which we learned later in life, the McDonald's were built as a real estate deal as much as anything
yeah,
else.
sure.
You
And
know,
a lot of companies
you
are.
built it, you held it for 30 years,
Yeah,
and presumably the real estate, if you were smart, is worth more now
yeah,
than it was when you bought it,
yeah,
and it all works out in the end. It's a long run, thing.
yeah.
But all this, the way that I mean, it's troubling when you read stories like I was reading today. There's a thing you're gonna love this because we all love our dogs.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah.
no doubt about that.
Where is my
There
dog?
is
By the way?
something now called Retrieve Air,
Like
and there's
retriever,
one
but
called
retrieve
Bark
air.
Air.
Okay.
It's a new airline designed exclusively for canine passengers.
I'm so glad. Will they
They
stop
fly
riding?
dogs in the main cabin of chartered Gulfstreams.
Beautiful.
And Bark Airlines has run flights to and from L.A.,
I think
has
that's
flown more
great.
than 1,000 dogs, brought in more than 6 million this year, with flights from L.A. to New York starting at
Oh my gosh.
6,575.
Wait a minute. That's a little too heavy. Now, but what do you go? You go with your dog, right?
No,
Oh, they
the dog
just
goes-
take the dog and
they
put it in.
take it, and the dog flies by itself. Uh,
$6
and
grand.
they're living the life of Riley up there.
That ain't my dog. My dog
And
is
then
not going that way.
in Italy, let's
Yeah.
see, Lufthansa and Turkish Airlines have introduced dedicated pet lounges.
Okay.
Uh,
I mean,
you can.
I don't know. My wife flew somewhere. I think she went to, I want to say she went to California for something. And she said on one of the flights there, a guy had a 120-pound, what's that dog, the hypoallergenic Labradoodle or whatever.
Okay.
A 120-pound dog. Okay. I'm talking, that's a big dog, right? I mean, that's not a little mid-size. That's a big dog, full-size dog. Sitting on his lap in the plane seat. So he didn't buy an extra seat for the dog. He brought the dog, and the dog sat on his lap. Now, if I just bought a ticket and I love dogs, I would not have wanted to sit there.
No, I kind of raised Cain when someone brought some cat and sat
Yeah.
it in right next to me.
Yeah,
and
no.
I thought I was allergic to cats back
Yeah.
in the days. I mean,
I just don't get
but-
that. So I like the airline for animals. That's great.
Yeah, but the point of the matter is, I think they could have an airline, and transport tree bark from North Carolina to
That's true.
California
That
if they want to, as long as I don't have to pay for it.
That's true.
But and they do some other good things. But here's a guy,
Yeah.
pet owner, relocating from Napa to New York with his dog Bread.
Okay.
Okay, no bark flights were available. The company helped charter a private jet to LA so Bread could connect with an eastbound flight. On both ends, a luxury car service was arranged with specific instructions for the driver about Bread's motion sickness.
Okay.
A guide met them in New York with tailored recommendations for groomers, parks, vets, dog walkers, and pet-friendly restaurants.
Who is this
So
Brad?
the point of that, other than saying "wow," is that we're definitely getting into a society where there are rich people and there are poor people, and there are not a lot of people in between.
And you know what I learned today after you just said that? I'm one of the poor people. I'm not
Well-
paying for that flight.
Oh yeah, well,
I am not
but the
paying.
people that are rich, they got the money to spend
Yeah.
for a one-way $6,500 flight for Bow Wow to fly up there and have treats all the way, and I guess drink champagne out of the water glass or whatever they do.
I guess.
But I mean, we're living a crazy, really luxurious world.
that's
In the United States, we are so lucky and so spoiled in this country. But then again, this weekend, and I'm sure this has got to get worked out because there's no way they can cut people off of their food stamps
Yeah, I saw
before
some
this
of that.
weekend.
Yeah, I
they
saw some
gotta. They can't let that happen. They really can't. They can fix the things and tighten things up and do this, that, and the other, but you just can't stop those things willy-nilly. And this whole government shutdown is really a carload of crap. And I think it's going to rain on both political parties.
I think so
if they
too.
keep
I mean, theoretically putting blood on everybody's hands, and they just don't
I
care.
think so.
They don't care enough about the people.
Well,
that,
I think they probably care, but
I don't know.
they can't see the forest for the trees. And
Maybe
a lot
that's
of these
it.
people, we put up there, they don't have some of them don't have they have great personalities, because they got them elected, so they're extroverts.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't have, some of them are like doctors and lawyers
Yeah,
and other
yeah.
things that are learned people. So yes, but you've got a lot of nitwits up there too.
I would say it's about 50%, to be honest.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of nitwits. I don't know if
Yeah.
some of them are real, and then some of them have just been screwed up. There's one that's a senator from one of the western states,
Yeah.
and he's a learned guy, and he's gotten radicalized to the left real far. And it's just everybody is either an extremely right wing or left wing. And here you got a guy that couldn't get any more left wing that's going to be possibly the mayor of New York.
I saw
And that's that's scaring a lot of people really bad.
When are we going to know that?
Next Tuesday
Next
night.
Tuesday. So
Zimbabwe or whatever his name is, Mamwani or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, he can say he's not, but the track record of him, you read
It
his
is.
thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
100%.
And so the Democrats, it's really freaking. They don't say it, even though the ones that endorsed him, they're freaking out because you win by being in the middle. You don't win by being on the far right or the far left.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you've got 20 or 30% that would elect a tree stump on the right. You've got 20 or 30% that would elect a tree stump on the left. So then you've got 30% in the middle. And that's why you can't have a radical nut on the left or the right.
Yeah.
You've got to get the people who are in the middle, who are just they're wishy-washy. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're left. Depends on the candidate, depends on the issue.
But if
and
you
that's
had
where
that-
we are. And with Zimbabwe or whatever his name is, that's become mayor of New York, that guy's way out there, communist, pretty much. Yes, communist.
Yeah.
And that's freaking the people in the middle. That you don't feel safe with that going on.
I don't even know how it
So
gets to
that
that.
hurts
But if
it.
we had the people in the middle, Jimmy, all the time, we would not be shut down as a government right now.
Well, remember, again, it's like you have elections, and that's when the people in the middle, the left, and the right get to speak.
Yeah.
You got to wait till the next election to speak again.
Yeah.
You don't get to speak. This time is what you've elected people to do. And people just infinitum keep electing people like Mitch McConnell, who should have been gone a
How
long
did
time
he
ago.
keep getting reelected?
Chucky Baby Schumer,
Yeah.
who should have been gone a long time ago. And there are others,
Yeah.
that just have been there too long.
How many? What percentage do you think, Jimmy, of the politicians that got into office and are in office right now are detached somewhat from reality because of the position they hold? Knowing.
I'm sure that a lot of them in the up there do.
Yeah.
And it's just, you just kind of want, and most people just want to have their life and look the other way.
Yes. I
And
agree.
live my life, and I got to go to the soccer game, and
Right.
I want to go out to eat and all that stuff. But it's starting to attack us everywhere we go. I mean, you go to a restaurant, which I went to this weekend that I love so much.
Yeah.
But for two people to eat, with tip, 20% tip, and that's another thing that's come from the COVID is I don't know, everybody I know tips better than they used to.
Yeah, I do. I tip
I
a little
don't.
bit
I
more
didn't
than
always
20%.
do 20%.
I
Remember,
do a
it was
little bit
once
more.
10%.
Yeah.
10%. Sometimes I do more.
Yeah.
I mean, on $20, I sometimes do $5.
Yeah.
But if the service was really
That's
good,
25%.
But you have two people going out to eat, and you each have a cocktail, and you each eat something decent, and you put the tip in there, and with everything considered, it's $130.
Well, I just go, and that's crazy, but I just go to coffee, and I get one coffee, right, at a drive-through coffee place, any drive-through coffee place, and just about all of them are $6 or $7 for one coffee to get a mocha or something like that, right? And then I go to pay with my Apple Watch. You say you're all Apple, so
Yeah.
I go to pay with that, and it says tip. Yeah, tip. And I go to myself, wait a minute, I just paid $7 for a coffee. and I got a
Yeah,
tip on top of it. What is going on? And I don't know. I was in one of those drive-thrus the other day, and I said, "What? No tip?" And she said, "I just blow through that page before I hand it to you." Now, does she push a tip for me, or did she bypass and say 0? I don't know, and I don't look at my
Well,
statement.
that's just one of those things that came from COVID.
Yeah,
that
another one. Another.
I don't
thing.
know what. I mean, I don't know why we're tipping more than we did then.
No, but we are. You're right. You're
But
right. I
we
never
are,
even thought about it.
and that's another expense that we've added on top of ourselves.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think for most people is that your your salary hasn't gone up.
No, mine
but your
hasn't.
expenses have gone up a lot.
That's true.
And expenses, whatever it is, has gone up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Maybe it's
just,
time we get a government job. No, wait.
No, they don't get any. They'll get their money eventually,
They will,
but it doesn't
they
help
will,
your
yeah.
cash flow.
No,
it doesn't
God,
help you
no.
when your unforgiving power company and people like that.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't go around trying to say, okay, is he a
That's true.
government employee or just didn't pay?
Right, exactly.
So you don't know. So
Crazy.
these are just strange times.
Yeah. No
When you
kidding.
got dogs flying for $7,000 for a one-way ticket
And people that
to
don't
New
get a
York
paycheck.
on a Gulf Stream, good Lord. I mean,
Well, you
man,
put me
living
in my
the dog's
place.
life, and then you've got customer service, that you can't understand if you can even get anybody on the phone, and it's
Yeah.
just there's just a lot of frustrations with a lot of things, and they're much bigger issues than we've talked about, but you see it in a lot of stuff. So
Well, somebody told me a long time ago, and I don't know if this statistic is actually true, but they said 85% of the things we worry about never come to fruition. So if that's true,
I don't think we've anticipated anything today. I think everything is real and is going on right now.
No,
of
you're right.
everything we talked
That's
about
true.
today.
That's true.
But yes,
Yeah.
worrying is a sin and worrying is bad.
yeah.
And you've got to hope that you've got to somehow keep that hope up.
Yeah.
That that you're not going to get hit by a bus today.
Right.
That you're not going to get hit by a plane falling out of the sky. You just can't operate your life that way.
Yeah.
Thinking that, you got to be smart and anticipate. And when I get out my car in a minute, I'm going to defensive drive, but you got a really defensive drive.
Yes, you do.
at
Yes, you
5
do.
In the afternoon late when you're dealing with rush hour.
Right. And people
Because
that
there are
are
crazy people out there.
holding these in
and-
their lap and driving down the road and answering
Yeah,
texts.
they're looking at it and they hadn't looked down. And,
Right.
there's a lot of that going on. So you got to learn to drive defensively. And, we didn't even mention the fact that 60,000, they say, 60,000 18-wheeler drivers have been given CDL licenses from California and Washington that can't speak a lick of English
Wow.
or much more than a lick.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they needed drivers so bad.
They
They
just
Wow. They ran them through. And now the feds are trying to, go through there and try to find them. But
clean that up. a
if they
bit.
recalled all of them tomorrow,
we wouldn't get
we
our
wouldn't
stuff.
have any way to deliver anything. So
Yeah.
we need a lot more. That's something that AI, I don't think, can fix.
Yeah.
We need a lot more truck drivers, for example.
That's crazy.
It's a hard life, but it pays pretty good.
If I were younger,
You know.
I'd do it because I love seeing the
I
countryside.
think I would have too. As a,
Yeah.
it's a job
Yeah.
when I was a kid. I mean, I wouldn't want to drive up where you live in the snow. But
I just drove. I
and I don't like driving in the rain particularly either. But
I just drove a 26-foot diesel with air brakes and air horn and an air cushion, air ride seat.
wow,
Drove that for 8 hours back, and I loved every minute of it. I wouldn't want to do it every day, but I loved
And
every
those
minute
people have
of
to
it.
do it every day.
Yeah, that's a younger
and
man's
they
game.
drive, and the government's pretty hard on them now. They can't drive more than X number of hours.
I think ladies would make great truck drivers too, ladies, if you're thinking
and there are
about
plenty
it.
of them up there.
Yeah, get
There's
after
plenty of
it.
women. There's plenty of all kinds of illegal aliens, and you
Yeah,
name it.
and
they're-
you can
they're
make
up
six
there.
figures doing that. I know
Yes,
guys
you can,
that
but
make
it
six
is not easy. And,
No, I agree. I agree.
and it's just like riding around the country in an RV.
Yeah.
You don't get to take a good bath and stuff like
It
that
sounds
when you're
good.
out
Yeah.
on the road.
right.
And
those
you
hotels.
do get to sleep. If you have a big 18-wheeler, you sleep in the cab.
Yeah.
You've got a bed back there and everything, a bunk or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just it's I respect those people that do that, the good ones.
I do too.
But
I do
I mean,
too.
think about all the things that can happen out there, and road hazards and everything else. It'd be rough.
But I had a good friend who did it in his 40s, and he said the freight companies own you. They tell you where you need to be, where to pick up. He
Yeah.
owned his own rig and everything, but he said they tell you where to be, what time to pick it up, how much you're getting, how long you're going to be there. But he said he's never made more money in his entire life.
Right.
And so
And you got so.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just things are It's just it's real easy to get frustrated, but you just got to have hope that tomorrow's going to be a better day than today, and keep your head screwed on, and keep, as they say on the TV cop shows, keep your head on a swivel.
All right. With that said, we'll wrap things up this week. I'm Derek Walker. Until next week, he's
Jimmy Carter.
good day.
Good day.